Now remember, loserthink doesn't mean that the people who are doing it are losers. Nothing like that. I'm saying that as a method of understanding your world, it takes you down an unproductive path. It's a losing path. I hear some people trying to defend the secrecy of the skiff process, the way it's being done for the sham impeachment. By the way, that's the word of the day. It's impeachment, but it's a sham. Hashtag sham impeachment. I want to see if I can get that trending today. So the sham impeachment is being defended by people saying that, don't you understand? There's a lawyer on Twitter who put it this way. I'm paraphrasing, but this is close enough. Don't you understand? Let me make this simple for you poor, poor moronic bastards. Do you not see that the impeachment inquiry, or whatever they're calling it, is really more like a grand jury situation? And those are meant to be private. So if it's similar to a grand jury, and grand juries are meant to be private, why can't this be private? Well, let me suggest one reason. I don't think you have grand jury, you don't call it grand jury simply for the purpose of winning an election, producing leaks and fake news. It's a perfect example of loserthink, to use the analogy of a grand jury to make your case and persuade that therefore secrecy is okay in this completely different context. As Byron York pointed out, one of the reasons that this skiff impeachment, sham impeachment thing is different is that the majority can just make it whatever they want. They can change the rules at will, as long as they're the majority and they vote for it. So that's a basic difference. But really, it has to do with the purpose. I don't think anybody thinks that the purpose of this, at least nobody in politics, thinks that the purpose of this is anything but politics. You don't really call a grand jury just to ruin the accused. That's not the point of a grand jury. Let's call a grand jury to see if we can use the grand jury to destroy the accused. That's a pretty big difference. So I have a chapter in my book about why analogies are terrible for persuasion, and this is a perfect example. One of the things that I recommend in my book, Loserthink, that you can order right now, is how to deal with things like mind readers online. People who think they're reading your mind and they can see an argument in there that's different than the one you're saying. And so instead of debating the argument you're presenting, they argue instead what they imagine you're thinking. So I've said that when you run into that situation, the bad analogies and some other situations, you should just use your phone, take a picture of the page in my book, and just post it into your Twitter response when you're debating somebody, and then you'd have the benefit of something from a book that's, let's say, a tightly organized argument. So I was trying that this morning on some of my own critics. And one of the critics said, Scott, you apologist, I'm paraphrasing here, you apologist, can't you see that Trump is ruining America in so many ways? And I said, what would be an example of that? Can you give me an example of how Trump is ruining America? And he came back with a list of about 10 things. Now, I anticipate that in my book. It's the laundry list persuasion. People make lists of 10 things because they don't have one thing that's a good argument. If you had one good argument, would you bother with the other 9? No, you wouldn't. So the whole point of having a whole list is to distract from the fact that there's nothing on the list that's a good point. If you live to be 1,000, you'll never see somebody who has a really good point add 9 things to it that aren't important. They'll just stick with their good point. Good point, done. So I, of course, took a picture of my book, the page that talks about that, and posted it. And I also used a technique from my book in which I challenged my critic to pick his strongest point. Say, in the interest of time, what's your strongest point? And would you agree that if I debunk your strongest point, maybe you would rethink your confidence of your own points that are less strong than the one I just debunked? What do you think he did? Do you think he said, well, that's an excellent plan. Here is the strongest point on my list? Nope. He did something else that I predict in the book. He devolved into insisting that the only way to have this conversation is to deal with all the points on the list as though they're one solid. And he fought for it. I've been going back and forth with him all morning, and God, he fought for it. He fought to not pick one item from the list, to just say, how about deal with this one? So I modified after it was clear he would not pick out anything on his list he thought was a good point, that they're all somehow equal or additive or something. Yeah, he's still fighting. I think he's still tweeting me right now as I'm talking. But you can see the advantage of making people crazy by taking a picture of my book, just sending it to him. And it's a good technique. I think you're going to enjoy it if you use it yourself.